Welcome, adventurers. We have a rather peculiar one tonight. Our writer wanted to run a non-lethal one-shot for a group to distract themselves from some real-life woes, and then a that guy player who claimed past Dungeon Master experience proceeded to try and cheat the game and murder Hobo, and he gets upset when it doesn't work. Let's get into it. Tonight's tale is called My Players Ignored Basic Common Sense in Order to Kill Each Other. So, a little bit of background. Dungeons & Dragons has always been a kind of rough spot for me. My mum and dad played a little when I was super young, but he was always way more into it than her. Eventually he started shutting her out of the game and playing with his friends in the living room. I remember him putting up baby gates so my little brother and I, 3 and 1 years old, couldn't get in the way. My mum was left to take care of us behind the fence. Then, when I was older, he tried to force 3.5 edition on my brother and I. We were like 7 and 9 and weren't too interested. We didn't want to roleplay, which should have been fine, especially for an experienced dungeon master to make amends with 2 young kids who really didn't understand any part of the game. I mean, I had a Dragonborn Ranger and I still wanted to use my mum's human mini. That pissed him off and he yelled at us until we cried, so I've understandably been on the fence about it for years. Then in 2018, last year at the time, my boyfriend, now fiancé, reintroduced me to Dungeons & Dragons in a whole new light. We play 5th edition with some friends, and I honestly love it. My dad didn't ruin it for me, which is lucky because he very easily could have. I latched onto the role of Dungeon Master after we couldn't find one that we liked, or that didn't have ridiculous rules, such as, no, you can't be a blue Dragonborn, be silver instead. Oh, you don't like that? Well, you don't know what you're doing, you suck. I never want to be in your presence again. Yes, that actually happened, but that's another story. After some months, we found a new guy to Dungeon Master for us, who's been playing for years, and we all get along really well. I'm another Dragonborn Ranger in his campaign, and my beast companion is a giant pure white with a blue striped phase snake, named Munchkin. I love Munchkin. Everything was going well. Then, a couple of weeks ago, my cat, who I raised from a week when everyone said she'd die and we found out had feline leukemia, died at 3.5 years old. I knew it was still coming, but it still hurt. Everyone knew I wanted to run a one-shot to distract myself from death. Now, into the story. I'm sorry if that was long and edgelordy, but it was important. Here's our lovely cast. Me. I've dungeon mastered maybe 10 sessions before this, 8 of which were chapter 1 of Fandelver with different groups of new people. I know nothing. This didn't used to be a problem. I think it is now. Zach, my boyfriend who knows my past with Dungeons & Dragons, and is trying hard to make sure I see the good and doesn't push me to roleplay, which I'm still very uncomfortable with. Frank, our usual Dungeon Master, who chose to be a player for this and was very excited. He did mention a few months ago that his in real life friends hadn't let him be a player in over a year, so that could explain his excitement. I now see why they don't. Okay, so I'm preparing the one-shot. I chose a very silly campaign from DM's Guild that somebody else made, where you go through a funhouse style non-lethal dungeon to get a prize from the greatest inventor of all time. So it could literally be anything. This trinket is a pine cone in a box that changes itself to look like whatever you want, and you want it so badly that you'll trade your most valuable item to obtain it. After a few moments you see it for what it truly is. So I got what each of my PCs want most to use later on. I tell everyone, hey guys, this one shot is just a distraction, it's non-lethal. You can all be level 10 and I'll let you homebrew whatever you want as long as it's not overpowered. They go nuts. So only Zach and Frank can play, but that's fine, it should still be fun. Right? Zach sent me his whole character sheet like I'd asked for, and he's playing a gunslinger birdman named Pip. Frank chose a humanoid girl named Kara, who is a death cleric. He didn't send me her full sheet, mostly just her stats, which I was annoyed at because I didn't feel like I truly knew this character, but I trusted him. After all, he's a DM too. He wouldn't cheat. So they start off in a town already knowing each other because it's a one-shot. I don't have time to make them meet, but Kara isn't playing like she knows Pip. They fall for a fun prank in the bar and she threatens to kill everyone. Pip is horrified. I am horrified. She goes to the graveyard to resurrect the dead, and Pip goes to some magic shops. Kara loots magic shops and scares the whole town. They go to sleep, and then they wake up. It's the day of the dungeon tournament thing, and this being the silly campaign it was, I told them it was silly, the champion arrives. His name was anatomy related, but I'll call him Tom here. Pip gets a laugh, Kara looks murder hobo-y, so she sets a church on fire and collects her dead. Now, out of character, Zach is texting me like, why did you let him do that? This isn't getting fun anymore. And I agreed. I do believe that characters should be able to do what they want, and he wanted to burn a church to ashes, so I think the church was Pelor. So finally we get in the dungeon after the characters leave valuables with the bartender for safekeeping. The undead get cut off from Kara and return to their naturally dead state. It's just Pip and Kara now. They go through different doors to solve the puzzles and get to the end to collect the bauble. Pip is going through the doors, giving me honest answers about how the puzzles affect him, and a few he can bypass because he has wings. Kara kind of skips rooms. I'm getting extremely upset now because I was looking forward to these rooms, but she's doing things like, I use such and such spell to make the rock split and allow me to pass and then seal back up behind me, and I let her do it. Finally we get to the second to last room. Pip is tired of Kara's attitude toward him, and now they're face to face with the boss, Tom. Tom is meant to be an almost impossible to beat boss that you barely scrape out of and feel super good for working with your teammates to beat. If you lose, you get sent to the loser's room, not killed. She touches him and uses a 5th level spell to freeze him. Bye bye boss fight. So then she uses another spell. I don't think she pulled out any weapons the whole game, just spells, to see where the inventor is because he has the bauble. I wanted to stop it, but I hadn't been shown her spell sheet, and I didn't know the class, so maybe it was legal. And she opened up a portal to his room, which was literally the next room over, but okay. Pip tried going through with her. She tried to freeze him. He dodged and pushed his way through the portal. Again, it's just the next room. By this point, both players had ticked off at each other. Zach was trying to make it fun for me because I was about to cry, and Frank just wanted to win and be the last one standing. They are so busy fighting each other that they forget the bauble is there, and I can't shout over them to describe the pull it has on them. Finally, Pip gets the bauble, and the inventor leaves, partly for his own safety at this point. Kara freezes Pip and takes the bauble. Now, I didn't know this, but when I described this fun knick-knack, apparently it triggered bad memories in an already pissed off Frank, and he lost it. Kara chases Pip out of the dungeon trying to murder him. They're out and I've had enough. I say, okay, you get your stuff back that you left with the bartender. Game over. And I hear Frank go, no, I kill Pip. Silence. What? I freeze him again and I kill him. So I've had it. I can't anymore and I give up. My 10 sessions of experience did not in any way prepare me for this. I was already emotionally weak to begin with. I sigh. Whatever. And I go silent. So Kara and Pip battle it out without me saying anything for like 10 minutes. Pip finally flies away on 1 HP into the woods. He's 50 feet deep in the woods when Kara says, I shoot another 5th level spell. He's dead. Zach says, no, I'm 80 feet deep in the woods, you can't do that. My spell says it reaches 120 feet. I interject with, you can't see him, he lives, game over. Frank says, it says 120 feet, he's dead. Zach retorts with, no, I got away, deal with it. I finally get out of that call and I break down and cry. It made it so much worse and I needed to get it out. I looked it up later. Kara had 2 5th level spell slots. 2! She used at least 6, and decided that when it missed her target, it didn't use the slot. I forgave Frank after a while, but Zach never did. We're all playing Tomb of Annihilation soon with me running it, including Frank. But we'll have 5 players other than him, and I told them death characters don't work in this campaign, for obvious reasons if you've played Tomb. I firmly believe in second chances, but if he tries to use my inexperience again, I will kick him out. I'll just have a T-Rex step on him or something. I'm definitely going to be regulating every aspect of a character from now on, within reason. And if his fun starts when everybody else's ends like in this one shot, we're going to have issues. And there we have it. Well, I think for me this tale really goes to show that when you don't fully know someone, you can't really accept their past credentials in the game as an acceptable I won't cheat pass. Just because someone has played for a really long time, or is an experienced dungeon master, doesn't mean they won't try and abuse the systems as a player. And frankly, abusing the knowledge that your DM is new in order to try and get your way is a total douche move. Now adventurers, I'm sure like many of you felt a bit perplexed at the end, where they let Frank back to play another game. I absolutely commend our writers' capacity for forgiveness. I think I may have not given them another chance. However, after posting their story, our writer got advice in the comments to ask the other players if they are comfortable with Frank playing, and they mostly said no, and our writer is now DMing Tomb of Annihilation with the original group, minus Frank. I wish the writer all the best, and no problem players in their future, and I sincerely hope that their Dungeons & Dragons journey is fun and exciting. That's all I have for tonight. But remember, the tavern door is always open. Good night.